Mother Funny Time with Andy and Angie.
2 cousins, 8 kids, 1 grandkid, 2 states.
And a whole lot of fun. Woo! Welcome back, Mother Funny Tribe. It's Angie and Daddy. And it's back to school season. Everyone's back to schools.
I don't even want to say like, yay,
Back to
or
school.
shout out. No.
Some moms are yay, but not Angie.
You guys were not doubling the podcast. People might be like, didn't you just talk about that last week? No, it's starting out the same. This is a new podcast, a new episode, we swear.
Tell them what we're talking about.
Oh, she's getting bossy
You tell
now.
them. I am.
Okay.
I'm the older cousin, so I get to be bossy.
Fine, my whole life. Today, Mother Funny Tribe. Some things never change.
Everyone's going to try to boss her around.
Yes, when you're the youngest, that happens. However, this is a time for change for many people and for many kids because, like Andy mentioned, it is back to school, which can mean for your children a new school, new routines, new teachers, new friends in the class, new classrooms. Sometimes some kids might go from like an elementary school and then they go to like a middle school where they're having to change classes. That could be a huge change. And there could even be a change with lunch boxes. There could be a change with your morning routine. There could be a change with the way you pick up your kids, or maybe your child is taking the bus for the first time. There's also just life in general, new sports. Some kids move right before school or during school. Sometimes in the middle of the school year, the teachers even change. Or there might be a new principal. Yes. And we do have to mention for a very quick moment, we've had the COVID podcast and quarantine podcast, but we also have to reflect on like when COVID hit and quarantine hit, there were so many changes that happened all of a sudden in our children's lives. And some of those changes, especially in the school system, have remained the same. So there's even some kids who are like, keep thinking it might go back or it might go back to this or that. And it's just not going to. Or maybe it will in the future. So today we're talking about this is a season right now of change for a lot of kids, even toddlers. Maybe they're trying out preschool for the first time, or they might be going to a new preschool. And so we thought we should talk about that. Obviously, this is a Mother Funny podcast, a podcast for moms. And as our children are working through changes, us moms are trying to help our kids navigate through that change and through that time in their life. Andy is a great person to talk about this topic because she has had kids who have done homeschool and charter school and public school, and Andy's even a mom, and college and graduated college, and her son just got married. So even in Andy's life, there's been a whole lot of change, and so she's kind of seen how change affected her kids throughout their entire lifespan.
Oh, entire lifespan. Yes.
Entire lifespan. So that's what we're talking about. This is not the back to school podcast. It's how do you handle your kids?
It's the season. So last week we did like new school, new you, or no, new year, new you for moms. And this is more like new year, new everything for kids. Like everything changes. I mean, even if your kids are at the same school, it's new. Everything's new. And I want to say like even the least amount of new I think is in beginning years of high school, but I would say that every grade of middle school is new because the first year, and I know it's different in Texas because you guys have different schools for different grades, but in California we have 6, 7, 8, and 6th grade is brand new because you're going to middle school. 7th grade is just torment and torture and it's just so hard for everybody. And then 8th grade, you kind of made it through it, and now you're the oldest, and you're getting ready for high school. So there's so many new things, whatever grade your kids are going into, as Angie had mentioned. Angie has sent her children to school already. School has started in Texas, and Angie is adding more pets to her farm.
Yes, just don't tell my mom.
You guys, you get that? Don't let Judy Hatfield hear.
Because she has a new grand dog. Yay!
Yay! Yes.
She'll be so excited. And fish.
Just likes to have lots of kids, lots of animals, lots of new things, lots of sports, lots of activities. She likes to keep her life very busy and fun and exciting.
It was a dog in need. It was a stray dog.
She heard the call.
It's in need. And it's from the animal shelter, and it needed a home. And so we are bringing this beautiful, super cute dog into our home because it needed a home.
And it's not a Great Pyrenees.
No, it's a small
little
dog.
one.
Yeah.
And so
super cute.
New school year, new you for the kids, new school year, new you for the dog. The dog's having a new owner. Everything is new in your household, in Angie's household. So
yes, it's all new. Do you want to hear the funniest thing I heard, though? In the midst of all the craziness of life, and makes me laugh, because when you are scrolling on social media, there's so many things about like, cherish this moment. This is the best time in your life, even though everything is crazy. Moms, love every second of it. Don't ever get stressed out. Cherish it, because one day the halls will be empty and you won't hear the pitter patter. I mean, they make it so huge about cherish every single second. It kind of puts pressure on you. So much pressure, right? But guess what I came across? And this brought me so much joy. So much joy. Are you ready?
Tell me.
All the moms out there, especially moms of little ones, who are feeling the pressure to like, my baby is screaming and has colic and I need to savor every moment.
Enjoy it. Love it. Don't forget it. Sit in that moment forever.
And don't
One day
complain.
they won't have colic.
Right.
And you'll miss their screams.
All those people that write that, I'm like, oh, they did not have a baby with colic.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you're losing your hair now from all the stress and lack of nutrition, but you're going to miss that.
Yeah, so love every second.
Love
Are
the
you
hives.
ready?
Yes.
Guess what age is the happiest? Like, what age people are the happiest in their life? Just this was so mind-blowing, and I was so excited and encouraged by this.
What age? I have no idea.
Are you ready? So there was a research team in Germany and Switzerland. They carried out this huge study of over 460,000 participants from different countries and different cultures. So this is like a wide-based study. Like, this is a huge, giant study. Researchers found people reach their happiest. I'm just so excited. People reached their happiest when they arrived at the age of 70. 70!
Wow.
Totally unexpected.
I'm in shock. 70.
70. I was not expecting that at all.
Huh.
From age 0 to 9, you're also pretty happy. And then it starts to get rough at 9. And then there's like something about 16, you know, because you're dealing with like hormones and drama in high school. And then it starts to like, oh, now you're working. And then you hit your like midlife crisis, age 40. And it was this whole incredible like graph, and it explained it all. And it was pretty impressive what they had done. And that is huge to me. 70. So if you're a mom and you're stressed out right now, because it's back to school, new school year, new you. Your kids are stressed out because of all the changes. Maybe some might have anxiety. Maybe some are super excited. Just know the best is yet to come.
It's 70.
70. I'm feeling like you don't agree with that. Like you're.
No, I'm. How can I argue with the Swiss and the Germans? Who am I?
Oh, Germany, we like you.
Shout out Germany.
Now.
We listen to whatever you say right now. Yeah, I just am surprised it's 70 because, okay, I guess I could see you're retired. Probably. I don't know how our generation's going to do, but
we're not retiring.
I know. Apparently we're not. Sorry, Gen X. Sorry, millennials who are a little older. Along that cusp, you know, the cusp. Yeah, I think their kids are grown. They've got grandkids. They have responsibilities, but they don't have very, you know, as long as you're just living your life. I am almost like a 70-year-old because I have grandkids. My kids are mostly grown.
No.
I feel
You're
like
not
because
even
I
50.
started, no, I'm not even 50, but I feel like, so this is my hope, because I started so young with marriage and family, maybe I'll be happier a little younger.
70 is the new 60.
Maybe I'll be 60, 65. I mean, I'm happy now. My day was fantastic, but
Yeah, but just you wait.
yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
460,000 participants. That's a huge study. And they found out age 70. Anyway, we're not talking about happiness, but I just wanted to encourage those moms because
it feels like a mini podcast in a podcast just now. Hold on there, all the moms who are stressed right now from back to school, or maybe they're happy. There's some who might be really happy, but at the same time, you're probably waking up very early, getting those lunches ready, and your kids are stressed, or your kids are, I would say, nervous, probably. There's a lot of new things like we're talking about. There's new friends, new teachers. They have a new schedule. Some kids for the first time are now leaving their one classroom life and moving to different classrooms each period, which is nerve-wracking for kids. Like when you, instead of like having your homeroom most of the day, you're now going first period, second period, third period. So yeah, a lot of new stuff. So I know that my kids have been through a lot of new things, like a lot of new schools, making new friends, and each part of that brought its new, I would say, I don't know if I want to say anxieties, sometimes anxiety, but definitely trepidation. Like, I have pictures, like even when my kids were homeschooled and we started classes for the first time, we came back to California, we joined a charter, they did classes once or twice a week. Like they had to go in, put their name in and line up. And I remember like this was big. Shiloh had done a year of first grade, so it probably wasn't as much for her, but Caleb was going into like sixth grade, maybe fifth or sixth. And for the first time, he's going to classes. And I mean, like he had done class, like a little kind of class before, but this was his first, like they're at his school, they're lining up. He doesn't really know people. He knows maybe one person and he's having to stand. And I have that picture of him and I knew he was nervous. It was scary, but he did it.
Did he talk to you about it beforehand or afterwards?
Yeah, I remember like being nervous for them, you know, as a mom, like you remember those new first things. You remember going to school and being like, okay, who am I going to sit with at lunch, which was the big thing. If you're taking the bus to school, who's on my bus? Where are we going to sit on the bus? That was big, at least for Gen X. Like the further back in the bus, the cooler you were. So there was that whole stress. And then what are your teachers going to be like? Are you going to have friends in your classes? That was always a big thing. So like everything was just nerve-wracking, no matter what grade you were in. But so I talked to him, you know, like we're in a new place. We had just moved, we had moved states and he's starting this school. And it's only a few hours, so it's not like a full day, and it's only once a week, so it's not as big as if he was just starting school for the first time. But I was like, it's gonna be okay. Like at the end of the day, it's gonna be okay. You just got to do it. And he did it, and he made friends. I mean, it takes time, but he made friends. The older you get, the harder and scarier it is. You know how when kids start kindergarten, they're like, let's do this, or like, they might be nervous at first, but making friends is a lot easier the younger you are.
Right. And part of how your child like adapts to change also depends on their temperament. So some kids might be excited, like school's starting, or I'm excited to have a new teacher or to meet new friends. And then like you're saying, other kids might be super nervous or have anxiety or stressed out or overthinking it. So part of it is as your children are adjusting to the change or to the season of change. If you have multiple children, one's super excited bouncing off the walls and the other one's crying in the corner. Yeah. You're like, wait, and as a mom, you're like, there's only one of me. And I'm trying to like meet my kids where they're
like
at.
Cheering and getting tissue at the same time. You're like, yay, I'm so sorry. Yay, I'm so sorry.
And moms have their own nervousness. Like you were saying, like you were kind of nervous as you were kind of dropping Caleb off on that day. But we have to hide that. Right? I mean, you can kind of talk about it, but not too much because you don't want to overly stress your child out, but you also want to acknowledge their feelings. Because I know one of the traps that some moms fall into is they're always trying to like cheer up their child or always trying to encourage their child. And it's by doing that, you're actually denying the child their own emotions or letting them know like, well, actually your emotions aren't important. Like if your child's truly sad about, say they're moving, that's a huge change. And if your child is super sad that they're moving, instead of just constantly saying like, it's okay, you'll make new friends, you'll like your house, the house is bigger, we'll get you a cat or we'll get you a dog. Like you're not allowing the child to even process through those own emotions. So it's good to like help your child like identify and acknowledge those emotions and help walk them through it. But also then you might have another child who's excited about moving. I mean, that's part of being a mom is there's your children have all these different emotions and you're trying to support each child, but you also have your own emotions that you're also processing at the same time. That's why we're going to be happy at age 70. They can deal with that on their own.
They've got it. We can let go. We don't have to worry.
They're adults.
Yeah, that's so true. It's on them at this point. That's true. I feel like I still worry about so many things for my kids, even though like 2 of them are married and I'm still like trying to figure things out for them because I'm the mom. But it's really up to them, you know, and maybe at 70, you really get that. You're like, it's up to them. Yeah, I think with the whole like, how much do you, I don't want to say like support, coddle your child when they're stressed, when they're scared, when they're sad. I think it's like a fine line. I think when our kids are, recently I had a child who was upset, and the first thing I try to do is just acknowledge like, yeah, that stinks. I'm so sorry. Like that's hard. You are sad. It's okay to be sad. And then that child was sad that they were sad. They were frustrated. They were sad. And I'm like, you know what? You can't, like, feelings come. Whether or not they're good, like, you're having them. And so, like, honoring those feelings. Like, yeah, you're sad. And maybe there is a little selfishness, or maybe there's something that's not right in that sadness, but you are sad. And it's okay that that's how your body reacts, or that's how you're mentally reacting. But then to look back at, okay, why am I sad? Some of those things are probably totally legit why you're sad, and some of those things maybe not. And so even sorting through those things, I think are good for the kid. I think when we feed into the emotion and make it have power over the kids, I think that's when it can be detrimental to their experience. Like if we feed into their fears, I think it's the same as ignoring their fears. Like it's totally fine. Like it's normal. It's human to be afraid of new things. It's human to worry about, am I going to be alone at lunch? Are my friends going to be here? Is my teacher going to be mean? Am I going to be wearing ugly clothes? Am I going to stain, you know what I mean? Like stain my shirt first day of school. Am I going to trip and make a fool of myself? Like those are just human things that we go through, and that's normal and that's fine. But like to continually coddle a child's emotions instead of like empowering them to handle their emotions, to honor that emotion, but then to move forward into like a more mature emotion, I guess, or a more mature thought pattern, I guess you could say.
There was this psychologist, and his daughter was in high school, and he would pick her up from school every single day, and she would get in the car and she'd be in such a bad mood, and all she would talk about is all the negative things that had happened that day. And so he started giving her 7 minutes, and he would say, you have 7 minutes to say everything negative and everything bad about your day. Like, this is your moment. 7 minutes. I'm not going to interrupt you. Like, just go off and just kind of unload for those 7 minutes. He's like, but after that, 7 minutes, like he would set a timer, you know, in the car, he would set the timer. And then when that like timer went off, it was like, okay, now we're going to get on with the rest of the day, or now you're going to get ready for sports, or now you're going to process through maybe what were some of the highs or the wins within that day. Or if within those 7 minutes, like he noticed something was really kind of surprising or needed to be like discussed a little bit further. I mean, he was a psychologist, so he was a professional. He knew what to really look for.
He knows.
Like,
knows
that's a good clue. We need to like dig into this. He could do that and kind of manage that, because you can't, if it's huge, obviously you want your child to be able to talk about those huge giant things. But he said it totally helped his it was a girl. It totally helped his daughter's like attitude, even, because then she didn't stay stuck in that emotion either and spend 45 minutes kind of looping and going over the same thing over and over and over again. It was like, no, I talked about it, got it off my chest, discussed it, was able to process through it, and now I can focus on the rest of my day. Because let's face it, when kids get home, their day hasn't ended. I mean, now it's time for sports, or time to go play with their friends in the neighborhood, or time for dinner or homework. I mean, there's a huge part of their day that's still left once kids get home from school. And so you can't, or you don't want to, like you're saying, have your child get stuck in that and then be upset the rest of the day, and it ruins their day. If you're kind of coddling them too much or letting them kind of wallow, right? Like, I think we talked about that in another podcast. Like, where is it where you want to be supportive, but we don't need them to wallow for 48 hours straight.
I think like being able, because as a mom, like, I feel like we have a lot of times such empathy towards our children, and we recognize our feelings and their feelings. You know what I mean? Like when our child is really upset, well, we remember our own times of being upset or our own things we've gone through. And so we'll really just like dig in that with them. And I think that's good to a degree. But like you're saying, I think that if you keep that going, it feeds something that is meant to pass. You know what I mean? Like feelings, emotions we're meant to have and sit in them and then let them go. But I don't want to raise, I didn't want to, and I haven't so far.
Quick, knock on wood.
I didn't raise really negative kids. Sometimes they could be negative. I can be negative. You know what I mean? Like that could even be a reflection of me. But I don't, like, my goal as a parent, one of them was to keep my kids focused on the positive and not just be a downer and a drain. However, I think that there were times that I definitely didn't allow them to sit in the negative because it made me uncomfortable. And I think that I wish, back then when they were younger, I would have let them sit in the negative for a little longer so that they could process it, because you're supposed to feel your emotions, right? Am I right? We got to feel those things. It's okay to be sad and angry and scared as adults, as children, as whatever.
You raised your children before the Inside Out movies.
I did. I don't know. I'm just amazed. I could have done so much better.
If only those movies would have come out sooner.
If only they were out. I love Inside Out.
You have a good point, though, because there's this idea of like our story as moms is not our children's story. So, for example, like if we struggled with who am I going to sit with at lunch? I mean, I didn't. I was homeschooled. I sat at the kitchen table. So this is totally hypothetical. So if that was something that, like, as a mom, like when you're thinking back to your elementary years, you really struggled with who am I going to sit with at lunch, and it caused a lot of like stress and anxiety. And then all of a sudden you see your child being nervous. Well, again, it goes back to temperament. They might be like, well, I don't have anyone to sit next to, but guess what? Lunch tomorrow, I'm going to go make a whole group of friends. They might look at it as an opportunity. So you don't also want to take your story of like it caused fear, nervousness, anxiety, and stress and put that on your child, because now they might be having all these thoughts that they naturally, like the way that they were hardwired and built and created, they wouldn't tackle it that way. So I hear what you're saying of like there are certain times or certain conversations or circumstances where we as moms might be uncomfortable with it. But on the other hand, that's our child. It's their experience, their temperament. We want to support our kids the best we can. And that's hard. And where is that balance of supporting them, but not, I don't want to say you can,
like making it worse. I think as a mom, we just don't want to make it worse.
Like you can't support them too much, but yeah.
Well,
see?
I think
and when you're
hard.
70, you don't care about that. You're like, whatever.
Yeah, at 70, you're 70. Like, whatever, loser. Sit by yourself. I could care less. Go make your friends, whatever. I've got some bridge to play over with my ladies.
Yeah, exactly. At 70, you're like, whatever, who cares? Good luck. It'll all work out.
We're already out of time.
Look how that happens.
So tell them what we're going to talk about next time.
We are going to continue on with this great conversation as we talk about kids adjusting to change and also specific things to look out for and to help our kids and so many more stories. And I don't have any more studies to share with you. I'm sorry. So we can just talk about
We love your studies, though, because now we learned that at 70, life is going to start, you guys. Do your workouts now so that your bones and muscles also work for when you're 70.
Water yoga? No, what is it? Water aerobics.
Aerobics.
Yeah, see, at 70, you do water aerobics. That's so fun. So fun.
You guys.
You're playing bridge, water aerobics.
I already have a dream. Like, you know how people are always like, who are you going to live with when you're old? Which kid's going to take care of you? I'm like, I don't want my kids taking care of me. I want to be in an amazing old folks community where I'm doing water aerobics. Someone's doing my hair. I'm going on outings. I'm going and living my best life. I'm dealing with the drama of the other people. And
yes. Do you remember
enjoying it?
Grandma Vance used to walk her cat. I mean, that's the ultimate life. Remember? She used to, you don't remember
that. That didn't stick in there. Like, it must have stuck in there.
Jinx had a collar, obviously, and a leash. And Grandma.
But she wasn't in an old folks' home.
No, when she was in her senior citizen community. At one point, she was like the president of the board or on that community board, like in her senior citizen community. But yeah, Jinx, before she kind of let Jinx go in and out, when Jinx was pretty much just the indoor cat at the beginning. So she used to put a leash on Jinx and she'd walk her cat around that community. And he was a beautiful cat. That's happiness. Walking a cat on a leash in your community.
I feel like Grandma Vance had a lot of great things after 70. I'm not saying her life wasn't great at 70, but this is what I'm going to say. I don't know if walking your cat is the epitome of a great life at 70.
Dude, I think that's amazing.
I think it's great. I think that I would strive for something else. Only if 70 if I could walk my cat on a leash. Grandma Vance would agree with me right now.
No, she would not.
She would 100%.
She was happy. She was happy. 100%.
No. She'd be like, that's right, Andy. I had a great life.
Yes, Grandma would say she had a great life. I'll agree with that.
And walking my cat wasn't the highlight of my 70s.
Okay, the highlight of Grandma's 70s.
Okay, let's talk about this. We're out of time, so if you need to stop, you can, but we're going to keep talking about Grandma Vance in her 70s.
Drive through Starbucks every morning.
Yes, you see.
Mass with her friends.
Yes.
She went back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Walking her cat. Watching O'Reilly at 5 o'clock. And I lived by her. I mean, what was better?
She was living her. What could be better than that? You're right. You're right. And when you're right, you're right. She lived long enough to go through the age of drive-through Starbucks.
True story. I went with Grandma one time because she'd have to get there early, to drive through because 7 o'clock mass. But I went with her one time and she orders and they're like, "Good morning, Lona. How are you?" Like they knew her. They knew her off of her order. Decaf, non-fat, mocha, no whip, venti, I think, was her drink.
I feel like she ended up getting regular because I remember Uncle Jeff being like, she's getting too much caffeine. I could be wrong. Uncle Jeff will tell us. Did she always do decaf? It's not a part of this, but maybe in my 70s I'll be able to do decaf. Because I'd need a lot of caffeine right now. Maybe that's part of the happiness. Maybe by 70s, you don't need as much caffeine.
Because you can take naps. And
I
golf.
need caffeine after my nap.
See, I'm just saying, there's so much to look forward to. So moms, if you're stressed out.
Yeah, we're over time. We hope you enjoyed that. Okay, till next time. Bye. Like us, share us. Tell us where they find us on YouTube. Again, I forget every single time.
It's
Mother
not
Funny
hard.
With Andy and Angie.
It's not hard. At Mother Funny with Andy
when
and
I'm
Angie.
70. Oh, that was
You'll remember that. What's going on
Angie.
over there?
my timer went off. Okay.
Bye.
Till next time. Bye. All right, that's all we have time for today. We got to wrap it up, unfortunately. But just remember, you might think you're doing just okay, but we think you're doing really great.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you have a great Mother Funny day. Please like and share our podcast.
But please don't tell our moms.